Hi, welcome to Adventures in Bonsai. I've been receiving some emails lately about people who want to know how to care for their bonsai during the cold winter months. I live in Florida now and I don't have to worry about that, but I do have to worry about when it gets a little cold down here, and we can talk about that too. But for those people who live up north, we're going to be running into the really cold months of December and January and February. Those are the times you really need to try to protect your bonsai, especially those bonsai that have newly developed roots, that are in very shallow pots or small pots. They need to be protected from the extreme cold. And there are ways to do this. Some people can actually take their plants inside the house and put them into aquariums or aquaria, and you put a level of gravel on the bottom, and you put the plants in, and you have lights on top, and you give them about 12 to 14 hours of light a day, never less, never more than the 12 to 14 hour period, and water them. And when you get a chance, take them outside, let them get some fresh air, and maybe even wash them down with a spray. Now, some trees need to stay outside during the cold weather because that's how they do. They go into a hibernation, and the cold weather is what signals them to do this, and they start to save up their energy for springtime growth. And those plants you still have to watch out for, because when it gets really below freezing, the soil can freeze and crack the pots and be a problem. And you should also never really water your plants when they're frozen solid. But when it is going to get really cold, what I used to do up north is I used to take my plants and put them into a shed. I had shelves in there, and when it was getting down to the really cold months, I'd put them all in there and check them frequently and try to keep them watered as much as possible, as long as it wasn't below freezing inside the shed, so that the soil was frozen. And basically, you just gotta watch them. You can also build cold storage areas, where a cold frame where you put your plants inside, and you use either peat moss or hay to cover them up. But you got to keep an eye on that too. And you're best off getting information about those techniques off of the internet or off of YouTube with the traditional bonsai people who might have some suggestions for you about this. There is information on the internet. You can do a search on Google for cold weather care for bonsai, and you'll get plenty of information and tips on what to do. Here in Florida, basically I just watch these tropical trees for when it gets down below 40 degrees, depending on the species. Some of them I have to watch out when it gets below 50. And what I do is I put them into a shed overnight if it's going to get really cold. The problem comes not so much with the temperature, but with the wind and for how long the temperature stays cold. So if you can get them through a night where it's going to get real cold for an hour or two, it's not so bad. But if it's going to be cold for a number of hours, you got to really be careful and try to protect those plants. So you do need to take steps to watch your bonsai and take care of them. Certain trees don't do so well in the cold weather, like pomegranates and your deciduous trees that lose leaves. You got to be careful with them as bonsai. But like I said, there's a lot of information out there. I think you might be better off going to someone else to get this information, because I really haven't had to do this in 15 years or so, and it's a little different down here in Florida, and what you need may be a little different for you. So just go and seek out some information and use common sense. I fertilize my plants about once a month during the winter time down here in Florida. Up north, when it's frozen, it depends. You basically have to watch for when it's going to be unfrozen, and then go out and water your plants and give them a little fertilizer, maybe if they need it a little bit, and you should be fine. But you may lose some no matter what you do. That's the risk you take when dealing with bonsai. Sometimes they are in these small containers, and the ones that are in little containers have a much higher chance of having problems in the cold weather than a plant that's in a big container with a lot of growth medium. So I hope that helps somewhat, and good luck with your bonsai over the winter, and have fun with your bonsai.